We've got a tag team tournament, we've got a new number one contender, and we've got a look inside the inner circle. Buckle up, AfterBuzzers. It's going to be a good one.
I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are coming to you live from Los Angeles, California. And have we got a show for you? We've got news, we've got some information on AEW Dark, and we've got all sorts of other fun segments coming up for you. But before we get going, let me introduce my amazing panel. First up, all the way over to the far, far left, we've got Roger Corral, our wrestling expert. He started watching wrestling back when he caught The Rock's elbow pad during a people's elbow, I believe, when you were younger.
Still feeling it to this day.
We also have here with us Jessica O'Connor, our sideline reporter, here in studio with us. Jessica, how you doing today?
I'm back and I'm blonder.
I love it. Well, we've got such a big show, all sorts of big things happening. Let me start off first. What's your...
Before we get going, we got to know who the captain of the ship is.
He's far too modest. He
too
always
excited
forgets.
all the time.
I'm always excited. It's all about the team here. I'm Jack Farmer. I'm your host. I'm so excited to be here. I'm so excited to dive into this show that I didn't have time. Also, shout out to Josh in the booth. Thank you for watching out for me one more time.
Woo, woo.
So, the show. It was a big show. A lot of stuff happened today.
Huge show.
Let me hear your guys' thoughts.
So much fun. I thought there was even more energy. Maybe not so much the crowd. The first crowd was super hot, but I think within the ring there was way more energy and excitement.
Yeah, absolutely. Roger, what do you think?
It felt like a more polished show. And I actually like that the crowd was a little harder to get their attention, because that's part of the fun. You know, you travel from city to city, and you got to earn those people.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I really agree. I think it was cool that the crowd was still super hot. I think most of the time people would say this was an amazing crowd. Of course, the first ever episode was just a little bit hotter, but a great show. I loved how we took all of the crazy shenanigans and hijinks of episode 1 and started to tie it together to create a real storyline that's building. And we have a couple smaller storylines and what looks to be a big overarching storyline. Of course, I'm just going to dive right in. Kind of the biggest thing that happened, I believe, is the inner circle. I loved how Jericho came out and really just told us everything we wanted to know. Are they going to stay together? Do they have a team? Who's on the team? Roger, how do you like this team coming together?
He answered all of our questions. They even they're selling shirts now. Like,
They were already wearing these shirts.
Sammy Guevara came out with the brand new shirt by the time the main event happened. Like, that was great. That was cool.
Yeah, are you all in with the inner
The
circle?
inner circle?
Yeah.
I think last week I was a little iffy. They mesh well. I actually enjoyed it really well. I thought the promo that Jericho pulled was great. And again, he worked with that crowd. Like, he made that promo work. So I was happy by the end of it.
I love how they kept trying to be with him, and he kept cutting them off. Like, I loved how they were like, "Thank you, Jericho," and he was like, "Shut up and sit down."
You stupid idiot.
You stupid idiots. And he just kept berating them no matter how much they tried to join in. I thought that was such great heel work. Jessica, are you a fan of the inner circle, or are you like, these guys are jerks? How do you feel about it?
I'm a fan of the inner circle's confidence. You know, they let you know who they are. Chris Jericho, we are the inner circle. You're welcome. Mic drop. Like, there was no room for debate. This is who we are. We're setting the tone. You're going down.
They definitely didn't come in with this, let's prove ourselves and show them that we're worth our time. They came in with, I love this group. I agree. At the end of the episode last week, I was like, this seems like a weird mashup of people. But for some reason, when they were all together, it looked like a perfect group, because you had obviously Jericho the leader, you had the muscle in Jake Hager, you had sort of the dirty work guys in Santana and Ortiz, and you had the cocky young guy in Guevara. It was so cool, and I love how Jericho literally goes through each of them and tells us why they are in the group and why they are great, because because Guevara is the heartthrob. I love it. He called Ortiz and Santana the pit bulls.
Yeah.
And he talks about how Jake Hager is a undefeated MMA guy, and I love that. Who's your favorite member of the Inner Circle currently?
I'm leaning towards Sammy Guevara. He's winning me over. I feel like he looks really cocky. He looks confident, and he looks cool.
He is cool. But he does have that perfect kind of heel look where you sort of want to slap him in the face. He looks kind of like a
Highly
jerk.
slappable.
Highly
He's
slappable.
highly slappable.
Honestly, Sammy Guevara is like one of those smug teenagers that you just see, and
Smug.
it's just one of those just like faces you just want to go. Grrr.
Slappable.
Perfect word.
Yeah.
Yep.
Smug, yeah, Smuggy Guevara.
Smuggy Guevara. Yes.
Jessica, who's your pick on the
Okay, I'll show you.
on the inner circle?
We have impressions
Although I
this
think
week.
I blinked. I probably shouldn't have blinked. I think everyone knows who I'm talking about.
Jake
Jake Hager.
the mountain of a man, Jake
He
Hager.
was, I mean, I hate to use the word stone cold, but like he was a freaking, he was a block of stone. Yeah.
Yeah, it was interesting seeing him next to Santana and Ortiz being two different types of scary, crazy
Yeah.
looking. Because
Yeah.
he had the I'm not moving, scary, crazy, and then the other two had more of the
Like, I'm in your face.
moving around.
He had
Yeah.
his tongue wigging
Yeah.
out.
Yes.
I thought it was a really cool gesture too with the Viva la Raza thing on Eddie
Little
Guerrero's
shout-out.
birthday. That was a little subtle, shout out Eddie Guerrero. Subtle little thing added in there. I think this group is awesome. Oh, I have to say, Jericho took a shot at the WWE.
He did. He even
there.
threw in an S word that we cannot say on air.
I feel
Uh-oh.
like Jericho watched the broadcast and heard some of the things the commentary team said and was like, "Oh, I'm allowed to say all this now, huh?" And he
In that case.
he was definitely pushing the buttons of standards and practices today. But I think this group is so cool. I'm such a big fan of this group already. I wish I could be a part of the group. I know they're supposed to be bad guys, but I want to be a part of this group, right? And I'm wondering what I would look like if I was in the group managing. Oh, there we go. We have a video. That's me.
Oh my
I think
God.
cutting a promo, managing the Inner Circle. I think I fit in just perfect there. I think I could be the manager of the Inner Circle. Jericho, hit me up, man. At me on Twitter.
I honestly wouldn't want to mess with that group right there, to be honest.
They look
Yeah, what have you done to
scary.
yourself?
That is a very dangerous looking group, especially with the manager Jack Farmer running the show there. So shout out to Dylan Matthews, by the way, for putting that together. One of our
great.
viewers.
You look great. That was great.
I think I fit in. Jericho, at me. I want to be a part of the Inner Circle. I think the name's perfect too because it's got that very Hollywood vibe, and Jericho has that rock star kind of
It's very
Hollywood.
exclusive. Very not. You're not allowed. Sorry.
Yeah, you're not part of this crew. You
Inner
can't,
circle only.
You can't sit with us, kind of.
You cannot sit with us.
Kind of vibe. That obviously takes us to the end of the show, which is a tag team match. A tag team match that I thought was solid. It was good.
Oh.
I don't know if the Mac Militant all elite now. Is Teddy Long all
We
elite
can make
now?
it all elite. We can
He's
make it all elite.
you're all elite, Teddy Long. You heard it here first. Breaking news.
Wow.
So we have a tag team match. We have Dustin and the Hangman Adam Page versus Jericho and Sammy Guevara. Just from a match standpoint, before all the shenanigans, hijinks, and flim flam, Roger, what did you think of the match?
Before chaos ensued.
Yes.
I like the match. It was good. And I like Tony Schiavone complimented Hangman. He said he reminded him of Barry Windham. Back in the 80s, 90s. He was one of the original members of the Four Horsemen.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think he gives me those vibes. He gives me Stone Cold vibes as well. I think there's a lot of optimism in terms of where Hangman's career is going to go. And yeah, him teaming him up with Dustin, I think everyone did a great job. I enjoyed the match. It was a very solid match.
I thought it was a very good way to get a lot of people kind of rubbing shoulders with people who are supposed to be on the higher end. Obviously, Dustin's a legend, and obviously Jericho's the champion and a legend as well. It gives Hangman and Guevara a chance to sort of mix in with them. Jessica, let me ask you, Hangman lost last week. He lost this week. What's going on with Hangman Adam Page? Is he going to get out of this? He's slipping.
Well, he has that like good guy likability, so I'm hoping. I mean, I think he could use a win just for, you know, his well-being.
Yeah.
But I guess we're just gonna have to wait and see. I don't really know. Fingers are crossed. I'm Team Hangman.
Anyone who has the confidence to wear chaps to the ring has my...
Thank you for reminding me. I wrote him best dressed, guys. He was my best dressed this evening. Loved the bandana, loved the chaps, loved everything about it. He rocked a little glitter. Best dress.
Best dress, stripper cowboy, best dress, stripper cowboy.
I like what I like.
But it is a cool look. We were talking backstage about how I'm a fan of the glitter. I like glitter. I don't care. Judge me. I'm a glitter fan. So, of course, Hager's out there. He gets involved, and him and Hangman do end up getting a little brawl that takes them out of the picture for a little bit. Jessica, do you think we're going to see more of that build? Do you think we see a little feud, a little rivalry between those two, that Hangman maybe has to try to take down the big man? Or do you think this is just like, hey, groups are going to fight?
I could see it. Yeah, I could see a little rivalry of brewing, but I don't know. I said that last week. I kind of appreciated that they took us in different directions that I thought the rivalries were going to go.
Yeah. Do you think Hangman has a chance against the Man Mountain Jake Hager?
We'll get used to it.
I don't know. Do you?
I agree with you. I like that everything's mixing up. I think, we have a weekly show to go to before we get to our main pay-per-view, so the more we mix things up, and I enjoy that. And in terms of Jake Hager, I don't know if anyone could actually take him. I forgot how big that guy is.
He's a mountain.
He's a mammoth over everyone else.
He looks bigger every time I see him.
Yeah.
He's just
He keeps growing.
He keeps growing. He's like the Incredible Hulk. Just like the angrier he gets. Yeah. And going back to the promo, actually, I love how they did reiterate that he is an undefeated MMA legit fighter as well. Because in this day and age, obviously, with wrestling and MMA blending together more and more, I think having that legitimacy just adds a little bit more
to the fear factor.
To the fear factor. One of my favorite moments of the night is obviously after those two get pulled aside. There's more hijinks happening in the ring, more fighting, more beating down, and MJF comes out.
Okay,
the homie.
I was nervous.
This was probably my favorite moment of the show. Spoiler alert, my favorite moment of the show. MJF comes out. We alluded to this last week.
Scarf included. Let's not forget.
Scarf included. I'm sure like he saw his friends getting beat up and he's like running out. He's like, oh wait, my scarf.
Hold my scarf.
Wait a minute.
He puts it on. Now, do we so he comes out. He's got the chair, and he's got the age-old wrestling decision. We see it, the bad guy's holding the friend, he's holding the chair, and I love just that moment as a fan where we all know, will he or won't he? Is he gonna be evil? Is he gonna be good? He's obviously acted like a heel as long as I've seen him in AEW. But he makes a choice, and we kind of alluded to this last week. Roger, as he's holding the chair, what's going through your mind?
I think MJF is bidding his time. Because what was going through my mind is he's going to do it. And I'm going to think that every single week. I think he's bidding his time, and when the time is right, he's going to attack Cody. He doesn't feel like a loyal friend.
I like that take, yeah. I wasn't thinking that, but I could see it now. That would be a fun twist.
I feel like there's some resentment there. You feel it. You could tell he doesn't like Cody. So I'm not buying the friendship.
He wasn't fully leaning into that hug. There was a little
those are like my favorite kind of heroes, though. The ones you're not quite sure what side they're on. He reminds me a lot of Loki from the Marvel movies, where you grow to love him, but you can never really trust him, and you always think something's going to happen. I will say when he stayed true to Cody and he became a good guy for this moment, I popped.
Yeah,
I loved
the crowd
it.
popped.
I loved it. And we were saying he's probably going to become a face before the end of the AEW, which could be forever. But I just loved it. I think could he be right now, and I'll throw this to both of you, if you were to rank the good guys in AEW right now, is he number 1? Is he number 2? Is he number 3? Where would you? Who's the good guy right now? Who are the good guys that you would rank above MJF as far as who the crowd would cheer for?
Cody, probably.
Cody's
right?
1.
I think he's number
Cody's
1.
number 1.
Fair.
But you made a very good point last week. Besides the elite guys, it starts getting a little iffy. And I think I could see MJF being number 2, honestly.
If he chooses good. He
that's
could
a
go
fair
evil.
point.
We don't know yet.
That's a good point, because Jon Moxley, the same thing. I don't know if these guys are considered good guys. Like, I wouldn't trust Jon Moxley with my life either.
Right. Yeah, it's something that we had discussed a little bit backstage. AEW is in an interesting situation right now where it seems like everyone gets cheered. Even Jericho obviously was getting cheered. Even the bad guys are getting cheers. Is this a problem for AEW? Do they need to make us start to boo, or should they just embrace the fact that we love everyone? We love the show, so we're embracing the heroes, we're embracing the villains. Is that a good thing, or is that problematic long term?
I think it might have just been specific to this night, because I think there was some trash talk in episode 1 that I was kind of like, But tonight, yeah, I think there was just like a general excitement.
That's true. It felt a little different than the first episode. I would embrace it, to be honest. I'm a huge fan of the NWO.
Yes,
to me, that's the best forever. For life.
It's not just a catchphrase, people.
To me, that's the standard of a cool group. And that group was so cool that it didn't matter who they attacked, people cheered. And I think the same thing's going to happen here. We said it about MJF. We said it about other people. When you're really cool, eventually everyone wants to hang out with you.
Yes. I think that's true, and I agree. I think having them embrace that is probably the right idea, because I think people are going to enjoy cheering, and it gives them more flexibility on how they can set up matches instead of worrying about, well, we can't have 2 bad guys face each other. And we saw a bit of that today with the Jon Moxley and Shawn Spears match, because those are 2 people before that match started I viewed as bad guys, as heels, and they obviously were not. I think people love Moxley whether or not he's playing. He seems like he plays a heel because he keeps attacking Kenny Omega, but Pac seems like he's playing a heel as well.
Yeah, that guy's bad.
Yeah, he's definitely a bad guy. Which leads me to my next question, which is very similar. If we were to rank the heels right now, the bad guys, Jericho is clearly number 1.
Number
Yeah.
1.
Who's the second biggest heel right now?
That's a good question.
I don't know if I could pick a number 2 right now.
Is it Pac? He's undefeated. He's a
low
jerk.
key. I feel like he doesn't have as big of a presence.
Right.
But maybe on evilness alone, he's number 2.
Low key bad.
Yeah, he's definitely
low-key bad.
He's low key bad. Hashtag low key
Low-key
bad.
baddie.
He is definitely lurking in the shadows, it seems, and he is undefeated. I think that needs to be reiterated in AEW, because I don't know how many other people are undefeated right now outside of Jericho. Is there anyone else?
You're right.
Chat roll. Is there anyone who is currently undefeated in AEW besides Pac? Because I don't know if there is anybody else, which means that's a huge deal. But yeah, besides Jericho, there is sort of a mix of who could be the next big heel.
I think everyone is I think everyone's just really excited to see everyone. I feel like everyone gets a pop to some degree.
Yeah.
Someone in our chat room is mentioning that MJF gets booed when he's on his own. But then whenever
That is a good point.
Yeah, when he interacts with Cody, we kind of cheer for the guy. So it goes back to, like, I don't know if these guys are all in between, which I think is kind of cool, or if they have actual good or bad motives. I can't tell.
Right. I think that just gives them, as mentioned, more flexibility. They don't need to worry about, we can only match these guys up against these guys and these girls up against these girls. I think it gives them a lot of flexibility in that regard. But before we get going any further, I want to go ahead and pass it on over to Jessica. Jessica, can you cut a promo and let all of our lovely viewers know where they can find us?
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much for tuning into AfterBuzz every week. We keep going because of you guys. It's really important that you like, subscribe, tune in, and of course engage with us, whether it's in the chat or in the comments at AfterBuzz TV. And thank you so much.
Yeah.
Boom.
Ding.
Yeah, especially right now as we're a new show. These comments and these likes, I know we beat people down with comments and likes and that kind of thing. But as a new show, it's important. People don't know where to find us, and the way people find us is through these different things. So if you could share the show as well, I think that would be a very awesome thing to do. Shout out to Johan Pena, who always shares the show. Thank you so much, Pena, for doing it. The House of Pena.
House of Pena.
We definitely appreciate that. So yeah, the more you share, hey, maybe we get shared enough. Maybe we could get some AEW folks to come into the studio and do a few interviews. I would love to have my absolute favorite AEW roster member come in. You know who my favorite is?
Who?
Pharaoh, Cody's dog. I'd love to interview Pharaoh.
There you go.
He's my absolute favorite. I'd love for him to play with my dog Russell. It'd be a good time. So yeah, share the show. All that said, speaking of sharing, I had a lot of sharing going on today on social media. For those of you who follow me on social media, round 1 of the tag team tournament kicked off, ladies and gentlemen.
We're back to tag teams.
Yeah.
You already know what I'm gonna say. Jack was wrong.
No.
Jack was wrong. Jack was wrong. I'm just gonna symphony it.
Disagree. I believe I was correct with a slight asterisk.
You truly are a part of the inner circle.
The evil just jumped out of you.
Listen. I'm a face. I'm a good guy. I was blown away. First off, this match blew me away. This was such a fun match. This is exactly what I want to see in tag team wrestling. So much fun. Obviously, a huge upset win. I think it's fair to say not a single person on the planet saw this coming, and it's fair to not count it against anyone's brackets. But I will say that it was fun.
Why don't we ask the chat who they thought they was gonna win? I'm pretty sure you were not the only person on the planet.
Jessica, what did you think of the match in general? What did you think of Private Party and the Young Bucks? This is kind of both of their first real showing as individual tag teams.
It was so much fun. They were both flipping all over the place. They did a lot of movements in sync, which was really cool. Yeah. And I enjoyed like this moment. I believe it was Matt Jackson. Someone from Private Party was like dying on the ground, and he like mouthed. He was like, "Did I do that?" And I just thought it was hilarious. That was like a standout moment for me.
The Bucks are very cheeky.
Yeah.
They're very cheeky.
It was funny.
I love the Young Bucks. Roger, how about you? How did you feel about this match?
It was perfect. It was such a perfect match. I forget their individual names from Private Party.
Yeah.
There was a sequence where like one of them jumped out and then he decided to jump again and then he jumped again. It was Mark Quinn.
Yeah.
It was like 5 or 6 times that he dove out there. That brought the crowd in. It got me hype.
What was so great about that sequence, because I agree, that definitely got me invested in this match, how he upped the ante every time he jumped. Like the first time he just kind of like jumped, and then he like springboarded, and then he did like the backflip, and it was just, it was like boom, 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 boom. And I thought, yeah, everything about this match was just so much fun. The fluidity is what I'm looking for. That's the word I'm looking for, and how that they were able to just go from one thing to the next without slowing down, but with also out feeling like they were just trying to hit spots.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It felt like it was a match, not just doing spots, but it was tons of spots. That was really fun.
And the Young Bucks, they definitely believe in these guys. For them to put out that display for them out there and to have that confidence in them to push forward as the tag team to beat, they just beat the Young Bucks, who's arguably the greatest tag team of the past 5-7 years. Like, they've been all over the world fighting the greatest wrestlers, and they just beat them on national television. That's a great honor.
Yeah, I love how AEW said from the beginning they want to really push the tag team division, and they are absolutely doing that. Private Party moves on. Jessica, is this the right call? Do you think that you want to see more of them moving forward, or should they have kept it the bigger stars currently, the Young Bucks, in the tournament?
No, I agree. I think it was cool that we're giving some new guys some shine. And like he said, if they gave them this chance, maybe they might go even further, you know?
Yeah. Well,
maybe your bracket is just going to get further destroyed.
Listen,
I hope they go all the way.
Before we talk about masks and being wrong or being right, anything can happen in pro wrestling. This isn't over. And I believe, I know, because I've never been wrong, this is going to work out. I'm going to be right. We're going to look back and go, Jack, you are a genius. Trust me. So,
I have my mask ready already, so.
You
It's already ready to go.
It's ready to go.
Right, so...
Get it
He's getting
together,
nervous
partner.
now. It's gonna happen.
So, speaking of tag team matches, we had another tag team match. We had the...
Thank you for the music. That's great.
Yes, we had Sakura and Priestley versus Riho and Dr. Britt Baker. And I thought this was just a really well-booked match in the sense that we got to see a lot of star power as far as the women's division goes. We also got to see, I think, a lot of people look good in this match. Jessica, watching this match, we obviously see the first ever AEW Women's Champion of the World in action, plus a few new characters. What did you think of what we saw today?
I loved it, and I have to say Britt Baker, best dressed woman of the night. Love the dental details, and I'm also super impressed that she is a real life doctor. That's
so
amazing.
cool.
Glitter as
And
well.
yeah,
The sparkles. I'm a big sparkle guy.
I'm really impressed. Also by her education, but the sparkles too. You know.
Sparkles, education.
Debatable too. Yeah, and I also thought it was really cool that they said that Sakura actually trained Riho when she was 9 years old. So it was like trainer versus the trainee, kind of full circle moment. That's pretty cool.
That was a great little detail that they threw in there. At one point, I think it was JR that asked Excalibur, can you tell us a little bit more about her? So I like that everyone's honest. Everyone's trying to learn more about these people. And I think it was great. That was cool.
Yeah.
I thought it was weird. Sakura started doing the "We will rock you" stomp, stomp, clap, and people booed. That was like the one time people booed. And I was like, how are you going to boo "We will rock you"? I mean,
People don't like Queen. I don't know.
That was like the one thing they're like, no, we're not into that. Sorry. Well, we are okay with attacking people. We're okay with throwing people through tables, but we will not stomp, stomp, clap. Not here in Boston. But one of the things, the reason I say this was good booking is because, as mentioned, Riho gets another win, so she solidifies how good she is as the champion. And we got to see Priestley and Baker look like they're going to have a bit of a rivalry, and it kind of builds them up to do more. Roger, are you looking forward to more of these two?
Yeah, and I actually really like what they've done with Britt Baker. I don't know if they've ever done that before. Usually when someone is a doctor or if they're any type of profession, they really lean in on that gimmick. And this feels so, it feels good. It's an actual person. She doesn't have to be defined by being a dentist. She doesn't have to come out there
With a
wanting to
drill.
drill. Yeah.
Right.
Like she feels like a
Imagine with like a stethoscope now for some reason.
Just like it could have been a lot worse. I mean, think back to like the '90s with Isaac Yankem.
Exactly.
Yes.
Stuff like that. Or there were like hockey players that used to come out like in full garb. Like
Right.
so it's refreshing to see something like that. So I think that makes her a bigger threat because like you said, she has her education so she could do other stuff besides this.
She's a badass.
She's a badass.
She absolutely is, and she's really good too. It's not like, oh well, she's done these things so we want to promote her. She's really, really good at what she does, and I believe we're going to see a lot of her moving forward because she is, I think, a really good example to people that you can do both. You can achieve you can go to college, you can get a big, very difficult education, and still pursue dreams of being a pro wrestler and doing these things. I think she's a great example for people.
Yeah.
She's really cool. I love her.
She's I think she's going to be, I think looking back in a few years, she's going to be the women's wrestler of AEW. I think she's going to be the one with the titles. She's going to be the one that really headlines that division, in my opinion. I think she's the one.
That's a prediction I might agree with.
Yes.
I don't want to let it get to your head.
So Priestley, I think I love it when two people look like they visually should clash, and you can see them standing in the ring and they look like they would go at it. There'd be some fisticuffs between them. So I am definitely looking forward to that. And something I'm also looking forward to is our new news segment. Not new news segment. We had a news segment last time, but we got a new news segment this time. But Jessica, take it away.
Ooh. Well, this is really exciting, you guys. AEW announced a brand new YouTube series covering the Dark matches, AEW Dark. So we have some competition in the AEW YouTube world now.
Yeah.
But it's a little bit different. So tell them a little bit more about what they can get from this channel.
Yeah, Roger, in fact, that goes to your kind of segment. You watched the show. We all watched the show, but I wanted you to talk about it because I know you were a big fan.
Yeah, I could either do it now or later. All right.
Unless there's other news for now. Jump right in.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna
like,
let him take the wheel.
Yeah, the cool thing about this is if you've ever gone to a wrestling show, they always have dark matches. So dark matches are matches that kind of get the crowd going, get them riled up before the actual main event comes on air. And sometimes they even have dark matches after the show to send the crowd happy home. So AEW is doing something really unique by putting all of these matches on YouTube for people to just enjoy. They're good 5-10 minute matches where you could just take a look at everyone's skill set and enjoy a match. And what's really cool about this, they're counting their wins and losses as part of their records. So as we know, AEW is counting wins and losses overall. And I think that's really cool because that way everyone could keep up. You could do your own notes at home, stuff like that. And one of the highlights, one of the matches that I really enjoyed from the Dark matches this week was Darby Allin was in competition against Sema, who's a veteran wrestler. He's been wrestling for like 20, 25 years. And it was a great example of how you use a Dark match. Darby Allin went out there, did a great display. He's already gone out against Cody in the past 2 months. He had that Cracker Barrel match last month. And then now he's the #1 contender for the title. So this is just another way to keep elevating your wrestlers and just highlight like why they deserve to be where they're at. So I thoroughly enjoyed that match. I enjoyed this segment, and I love it. I think it's great.
I think that Darby Allin is absolutely going to be a star.
He is phenomenal.
I think he has all the things you're looking for. He's super young. He's a good-looking guy. He's got a cool moveset. He moves so fast. But before we give away the farm, let's go ahead and talk about his match today. It was for the #1 contendership, which is a huge, huge deal. Jimmy Havoc versus Darby Allin in an interesting match. Jessica, tell us about it. What did you think of these two?
Well, I guess my thing is the celebrity comparisons.
Yes.
And Jimmy Havoc is Marilyn Manson in Mad Max. Am I wrong?
Ooh, I love it. I love it.
Okay.
That says a lot. I'm gonna throw you under the bus a little bit. Backstage, you were like, he looks like Marilyn Manson. Like it wasn't. He did not seem scary when you were talking about him backstage. He's terrifying to me.
It's in Mad Max though.
Once you get the Mad, I get it. I get it.
Once you add that, he has such a scary look, and I think that he obviously came up short today, so he's gonna have to get some more wins for this. But I could see him being kind of like an Undertaker figure in AEW. I mean, that's a huge, huge comparison, but he's got that scary look that I think if you're the person in the ring and his music hits, you're going to be terrified.
He
Roger,
has kind of like a moodiness to him
Yeah.
too, though.
Yeah.
He's like, 15 years I've been hurting. Like he didn't just want to be scary. He wanted to let you know. He's like, I've been suffering.
he was doing some tongue wagging as well. A lot of people sticking their tongues out in this episode.
It's the new thing.
Now, obviously, Darby is going to be the talk of the town here in a second. Tell us a bit about Jimmy Havoc, though. What are your thoughts on this guy?
I mean, his name is Jimmy Havoc. Like, would you date a guy called Jimmy Havoc? Like, that's horrifying.
I wouldn't date a guy
I
named
would
Jimmy
run
Havoc.
from Jimmy Havoc.
That's a horrifying name. And then he shows up to his date wearing that. Like, could you imagine? Like,
Knocks on your door.
His Tinder profile is not doing well. I'm sure.
Pictures from the eyes up only.
But lucky for us, he went face to face against Darby Allin, who I'm sure had no fear at all. Like I said, they had that battle back at All In, I believe, or All Out. And they had the Cracker Barrel match where they threw thumbtacks in his mouth and they wrapped his mouth in it. Yeah. So obviously, these guys are not scared of anything. I think Jimmy Havoc has a lot of wins ahead of him. He just has to focus.
Yes, and I agree. I think Jimmy Havoc is amazing. Darby Allin, though, came up big here. He kind of took a beating for most of the match and then hit some moves and got the win. I love his springboard swan dive arm
so
drag.
good.
It's so pretty.
So good.
I'm not scared to call him pretty. It's a pretty move. I love his like flip over stunner as well. Such a cool move there.
He has a suicide dive that's from the bottom floor, like the middle rope, not the middle. Like, so it's kind of unique. I saw it in the Dark match against Sema, and it's different. Like, he just throws himself. And then his finisher, oh my God, his finisher is so good. I think
the coffin drop.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so simple, but it's actually so cool.
It looks amazing.
I say simple, but if you ask me to jump backwards like this off the top rope, I'm like, no. Nope. You'd see me like, I'd step back down to the canvas, and I'm like, okay, just fall backwards. No.
It's a trust fall.
It's a trust fall. And he, especially on the Dark match, well, he ate it a few times.
Yeah.
And his match with Cody, he really ate it
on the apron. Oh, that hurts. Poor guy. Hopefully that's not his finisher when he's like 45, 50. Yeah, like at some point.
If he makes it
he's going to have to have a different finisher.
Yeah, because that looked like it. That looks like quite the painful move. What are your thoughts on Darby Allin, Jessica?
Well, I obviously he's a good guy at the moment, but he has like an edge to him. I like that he has the skateboarding background that makes him really unique. And I think because he comes from that skateboarding world, he's always going to have kind of like a chip on his shoulder.
I like that. That's true.
Yeah, you can look up some of his videos online, and he has some pretty sick-looking moves. I'm not
skateboarding. I actually pulled up a clip from his Twitter page.
Oh yeah, let's take a look.
Josh in the booth coming through. Oh,
look at this.
It is insane.
Oh my God.
That's insane.
Caution and win. This is what actually was telling you guys earlier. Slams and gets back up like if nothing.
See, this is why he's perfect for wrestling. He has no fear and he's not afraid to fall.
Obviously.
Black flip.
Look at that.
Bam, and into the quarter pipe.
I can totally see how the two worlds collided for him.
I can already feel my ankle twisting just watching this.
The mohawk, though. Oh, my God.
It's so good. By the way, him bringing this into wrestling, when have we ever seen someone come down the aisle, like, skateboarding?
It's gotta be
that's so cool.
Well, how have they not? Now, looking back on it, it's one of those things that's so obvious. It's like The Sixth Sense, spoiler alert. The whole thing's obvious. If you haven't seen The Sixth Sense yet, I mean, are you going to?
It's like a 30-year spoiler. Like, it's okay.
So I am really excited. I love... Again, something that AEW does so well is they put stakes on the matches.
Yeah.
Like things matter. Like already these two guys are having to match for a world title shot. I mean, spoiler alert here, I don't think he's going to win because Jericho's building up to a match with Cody, but it's still a huge deal. And Darby, again, long term, if I could buy stock in a wrestler, I would be buying up all the Darby Allin stock right now. Do you think he has a chance against Jericho, or is this just going to be a...
I always have hope. I think that's what wrestling's about. It's about having hope. Because there's always a wrestler
no hope. No chance.
There is a lot of hope. Don't listen to them. I think anytime you have an underdog going against... I mean, he's going against Jericho in his inner circle. That's a tough battle. Mm-hmm. And this guy has been able to go head-to-head against Cody, against other people. And I think he has a really legitimate shot to at least get a 2.5 count.
2.5?
Yeah. I think there's a lot of hope, to be honest.
Do you think, Jessica, do you think he loses, if we're playing a little bit of predictions here, is he going to lose outright, or is he going to, I'm just assuming he's losing, do you think it's going to be like an outright loss, or do you think that we're going to see shenanigans that cost him the match? Is it going to finish? Is the match going to finish?
Definitely some shenanigans. I feel like because it's kind of an odd pairing to begin with, it's this new kid on the block versus like an old seasoned veteran. Like
right.
they're not gonna just let it be a beatdown, you know? If he's struggling, maybe someone's gonna come in and help.
I have a feeling it's gonna be a classic. I think it's gonna be so good. I think it's gonna be a really good match. I think it's gonna be match of the night next week.
You're right. I'm getting excited now. I think that's going to be great.
I think it's going to be such a good match. And as I said, I do have a lot of time for Darby Allin. We touched on it a little bit, but I wanted to dive in more to the Jon Moxley, Shawn Spears match. Actually, before I do that, I skipped a segment. Look, episode 2, give me some time. I forgot to do our Elite of the Week.
Elite of the Week.
Oh.
Today, the Elite of the Week.
Oh, funky.
Our Elite of the Week. That's right. We're spicing it up a little bit, getting a few little drops in here. Elite of the Week this week, I think, has to be Darby Allin. I mean, he won a big match on AEW Dark. He went on to become the #1 contender tonight. I just put him over big time, and that's the biggest reward. And now he's going to go on to face the champ. Today, this week, Darby Allin, you're in the Hall of Farmer. You are the Elite of the Week.
And feel free to let us know who your Elite of the Week is if you disagree in the comments, or if someone else different stood out to you, and let us know why.
I like that.
Was your Elite of the Week.
Oh, that was
cool.
great.
Yes. So, yeah, I love that. Yeah, put it in the comments. Who is your Elite of the Week? Was it me being a part of the Inner Circle? Was it any of the other wrestlers? A lot of good performances here today. But so back over to Sean Spears, Jon Moxley. I don't know why, but the biggest takeaway I had from this match was Jon Moxley was wearing tights. For some reason, I feel like he should be wearing jeans. Maybe it's his old stomping ground days in the WWE.
He feels like a jeans guy, right?
He seems like a jeans guy, but I guess he did wear tights in Japan. But what did you guys take away from this match? Did you guys pull anything from it, or was it kind of just a filler match? How did you feel?
This was probably the weakest match for me.
Yeah.
This is kind of where, I mean, all of them were good, but if my attention was to pull away, it would probably be this one.
I think Moxley is a brawler, and that type of style is kind of hard sometimes to adjust with other wrestlers. So I think you kind of need another. That's why I'm looking forward to when him and Kenny Omega go face to face, because I think Kenny Omega is the type of wrestler that could keep up with that type of style. Because when you're a brawler, you're just going in there, you're swinging, you're just throwing stuff, and so that doesn't always. It's good, but it's not always entertaining.
Right, yeah, the biggest takeaway I had from this match is going into it, I felt like we had two of the top guys for AEW coming into it, but leaving, my thoughts on Sean Spears is his stock is taking a dive right now. He lost to Cody, he lost again today. Similar almost to he's like a heel version of Hangman. Is he going to come back, or is this what we should expect from him?
Actually, for him, I'm a little worried, because where does he go from here? I don't know if his style meshes well in terms of being able to rack up wins. And he needs to find that in him. He needs to find a way to close out matches, and I don't think he's developed that yet. Granted, he's only fought pretty big names, so I think he kind of needs to come down a bit and try to adjust his style to try and rack those up.
Yeah, you think maybe try to maybe have some matches with a few enhancement talent guys.
Some tag team matches. He needs to. He's worthy enough to be fighting guys like Jon Moxley and Cody, but obviously he can't get the job done. So I think he needs to go back to the drawing board and figure out what he needs to do to go back to fight those guys in the future.
Yeah, I think he's definitely the type of character that you need to feed people to. You need to feed him people. Like some characters, Cody can lose matches and he's still great. But someone like Sean Spears needs to win, I think.
Yeah.
Jessica, at this point with Sean Spears, from what you've seen so far, are you like, yes, I want to see him get pushed some more, get some wins, and do some things? Or are you like, who is this guy?
I hate to say it, but I feel like I'm kind of more, who is this guy? He got lost in the shuffle for me tonight.
I think that's fair. I think it's a fair comment. I'm a fan of the guy, so I like him, but I can definitely see if all you've seen is AEW, I mean, he has a cool hood and he's got a cool manager, but outside of that, it's kind of tough. I hope he's able to bounce back from this, but I don't know what he's going to do. Maybe turn face, because he's got to help this group of faces battle the group of heels, which I do love how we're seeing the line drawn. I like when lines are drawn and we see the good and the bad, and we see the inner circle being chased off by the ragtag group of good guys and rebels. Do you want to see like a group battle between these guys, or are you like, where do you think this is going? Are we going to see kind of more gang warfare, or is this just...
I feel like they're kind of playing it up in that way.
Yeah, they are. It's starting to look like...
By episode 2, they're already like, we're the inner circle. This is us. It's very much... Yeah, you're right. A line drawn in the sand.
Cool. Well, so we talked a bit about the Jimmy Havoc match that's coming up, and against not Jimmy Havoc match, the Darby Allin match against Jericho, but we also have a match, Dr. Britt Baker versus Riho. Are you guys looking forward to that? What do you think is going to happen next week with that?
I really like them both. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. You know, when you like two people, it's interesting to see who you lean towards in that situation where they're head-to-head.
Yeah, that's a pay-per-view worthy match. I think it's a bit too soon, to be honest. That match we should be paying for.
Mm-hmm.
That match is not ending clean. Priestley's getting involved. You heard it here first, folks. Don't tune in tomorrow, next week. But I'm saying this is what's going to happen. Priestley's getting involved. I'm just going to put it out there. I think Britt Baker, again, I think she's the star. She's my favorite female wrestler in AEW right now. So I definitely want to see more of her. I think we're definitely getting treated to that. I think that's going to be really fun. Last of all, just for funsies, who's your current favorite AEW characters right now? Roger, you go first.
I'm still...
Feet to the fire.
I'm a huge fan of Cody. I'm always going to love Cody.
Buff Bill Clinton?
Buff Bill Clinton.
Yes.
I'm like I said, I love Britt. She's really inspiring, so she's my favorite now.
So we've got one Cody, one Britt. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna say MJF right now. That was my biggest pop of the night.
Okay.
People
if I can cast my vote too.
Josh in the booth.
I'm just a little bit out there, but I just love. I don't know what it is. I just love his mannerisms and everything. I got to go with Orange Cassidy.
Okay.
Orange Cassidy, yes.
He was great today. Like that guy, there was a little kid at the Dark match.
Yeah.
He looked so cute. Like this guy has a bunch of talent.
He has so much charisma. I think a lot of people are going to dress up as him for Halloween. If not this year, then next year when they get more time to know him. We are running out of time, though. So, Roger, why don't you go ahead and tell all the lovely viewers where they can find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Roger_Corral or look up Beef Supreme on Instagram.
At Jessica O'Connor _ on Instagram or at J O'Connor with 3 N's because 2 N's was taken on Twitter.
And I'm Jack Farmer. You can find me at jackcfarmer.com. You can also find me at Real Jack Farmer across all social media. I am also a host on the WWE Raw After Show, which you can check out every Monday night at 9 p.m. here on AfterBuzz TV. From all of us and Josh in the booth, thank you and good night.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.